It's October 4th, 2023. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds here on Fightful Overbooked. We're back home. We're no longer on the away side of things. We're not waiting for main channel madness. It's not Monday. It's Wednesday. It's nice to be back in our home where if you get golden dollar signed, I can immediately go and fix. I mean, I can fix it on the main channel too, but it's easier here because I don't feel so weird going in and seeing views much higher than that. Jeremy Lambert's here. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. You seem to be in rare form or something here, Joel Pearl. It's all home. This is all the home to us. Is the main channel like our NXT? Is we're there once a month and that's it?
I mean, no. Yeah, it is. Who am I kidding? The main channel is this nebulous space that exists where we show up once a month and we do our brand and people get real confused about what we do because our show is very different from everything else that exists on the main channel Fightful. We're not Hump. We're not Spotlight. I mean, I would argue we're probably closer to Spotlight than we are any other show.
Yeah, we're closer to Spotlight than any other show because we're a morning show with an interview. So we're closer to Spotlight than anything, I would say. It's still differentiating in Spotlight just because I don't want them to be the same show. We do more long form interviews on Spotlight. We do more short form interviews here, and a different format and everything. We talk more the graps, the wrestling on Spotlight. I don't know what we do on this show. I gotta look at you for friggin' 2 hours. This show sucks.
Isn't it great? You got to get a second screen so that you can ignore me throughout most of the show and then not look at my face.
I got multiple. I got one here that no one can see. I got one here that no one can see. I could theoretically just not pay attention to you. Should I play NBA 2K this entire stream and then attempt to figure out what you're actually talking about? No one could see me play 2K. I'll just react to me playing 2K.
You know what I should do one of these days? I should bring back the picture in picture for my OBS where I'm playing a video game while on the screen playing the video game.
And then that sounds terrible.
I've done it before. Y'all never noticed this before because I had a tiny screen up in the corner. I didn't do it on this show. I've done it on another show. People didn't notice.
No one pays attention to you, Joel. That's why.
I totally understand it. So sometimes I wonder why I host this show. It's not like
you were available, and that was about it. That's as far as the conversation there went. It's like, hey, you available these days? Yeah. All right, gig's yours.
It's pretty much like, hey, I got
work cheap too, so that helps.
Right. You think more people would work cheap just to have this opportunity, Jim?
Yeah.
Just to get platform just like this to talk about professional wrestling, the most important topic in the entire universe.
Yeah, pro wrestling, everybody. It's a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. Next week on Title Tuesday and NXT, we're going to have 1.5 million wrestling fans watching professional wrestling across 2 wrestling companies. It's a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling as 2 companies are thriving right now in professional wrestling.
Maybe you didn't watch NXT if you're listening to us right now or watching us. By the way, well, I know cowards. By the way, you're not a coward, though, if you leave a thumbs up and you subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. You're even less of a coward. There we go. If you thumbs us up, then that will happen in your bedroom as well. You will see this fireworks just go off in your bedroom.
That's what happened in the bedroom earlier today, Joel.
Yeah, thumbs up and fireworks.
Yeah.
Or were the thumbs going up? Never mind. So the point was, you can donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. What I was going to say was that if you were not watching NXT, and for some people, I understand, they are. What do I want to know?
I was waiting. There's the delay between what we say and the TV, and I was waiting for the text from the wife.
Oh God, this is really 90% of the show is just trying to get a rise out of one person and popping ourselves.
She gets a rise out of me all the time, Joel Pearl.
Was it that I was available, or was it that no one else wanted to deal with this?
Probably both. Again, also probably both.
Oh God, why do we have a morning show?
No one watches this show, thank God.
Someone's like, I just opened the stream and we're having bedroom talk. Oh God. All right.
You can't do this to me, Joel. You can't set me up like this. Okay? The wife has learned, she learned a long time ago. Like, I can turn anything into the innuendo. And so she will say something and I will just turn it into that. And that's just how it goes. Doesn't my mom? She does actually. She called me on Monday. I'm going to visit. I'm going to visit my mom tomorrow. Actually, it's her birthday on Friday, everybody. So she'll probably be on the show on Friday. Now that I think about it, because it is her birthday. She called me on Monday and she's like, "You look very tired." I was like, "Yeah, Mom. I slept for like 2 hours last night after Wrestle Dream. It was a long weekend." But she does watch this show. She knows how I am. I make these jokes in front of my mom. So
I'm like, let's
this is my father coming out. And
yeah,
this is very much my father.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are your parents' child. If you don't think they're making the same cracks at one point in your life, I don't know what you're saying.
My dad was making these jokes while he was on his deathbed. So
God bless.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so NXT's loading up next week. Everything happened, Jeremy, just as we planned it, with a few notable additions, one of which being John Cena.
They got John Cena to work this freaking show. Bless him.
It makes, first of all, I have one big question, and that's for anyone who's attending. If you can see out into like the PC parking lot, just like take a photo of how many buses are lined up. I want to know how many wrestlers' buses will be in the parking lot that night, because like they got a place to change. There's no like proper locker room setup for these people who are coming in, or they're going to make all the PC recruits or whoever's on the regular NXT show. They're going to like get a porta potty and have them change out there. But I am so curious because they are bringing everyone they can. Asuka's going to come in, have a match against Roxanne Perez. You got John Cena's going to corner Mello. And then Paul Heyman at the end of the show, he gets everyone thinking it's going to be Roman.
But like, I thought Roman was coming, baby. He's like the second greatest of all time. Like, I heard from the greatest of all time. And I thought he was about to say, and he will be here next week. The problem with bringing Roman to NXT, I guess the ramp is a little bit shorter, so the entrance won't take quite as long, but that's half the show right there for Roman. You got a lot to do next week. Oh, I thought he was bringing Roman. Even Roman was like, nah, I ain't doing that show. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Imagine Roman's watching NXT and he just like he sees Paul and he's not like clued in on what's going on, and he's just like doing something, watching dishes or something. All of a sudden he hears, "I called the greatest of all time," and he's like, "You did what?" And he's like, "Am I going to be working Tuesday, Paul?"
Nah, I think it's better if like Heyman actually did call Roman. Like after Mello announced that Cena was going to corner him, there should have been a camera on Heyman. Like actually call Roman Reigns. Calling Roman is like, "Roman, John Cena is showing up next Tuesday to NXT to corner Carmelo Hayes." Roman's just like, "Okay." Heyman's like, "Do you want to be here? Do you want to combat John Cena and all the issues he is causing on the bloodline with Jimmy and Solo? Do you want to show up?" And Roman's just like, "Nah, got extracurriculars that day. Kids got ballet,
Twins
kids got
JV.
play rehearsal, kids got basketball.
Twins got football."
Yeah. No, we can't do that. We can't make Tuesday work, Paul. You take care of that, Paul. You take care of that, Paul. Okay. Yes, my tribal chief. Yes, my tribal chief. And then he has to do it. That's what it should have been.
Total. He's just like, "Yeah, wife and I said we'd build furniture together. So I gotta
go into IKEA. Might go to Home Depot, get a little bit crazy on a Tuesday night.
That was a really deep cut, by the way. For those who don't know, Roman's whole thing was like, yeah, I started doing wrestling because football didn't work and I didn't want to build furniture for my uncles for the next 20 years. So you got to explain the joke. Here we go. But yeah, so we have a whole lot of people showing up on NXT, and it's all to combat the big Edge versus Luchasaurus match. and Tony Khan's presumed birthday celebration that Kenny Omega and the Bucks are going to put on in the ring, and then they'll ask him for voting power in the company. So what are they going to do on AEW to load it up? Because you had a really good point about the advantage in terms of leveling up their cards and making things promotionally investing. What did you have to say?
So I want to be clear. This is the television game that they were playing, because people messaged me afterwards and was like, well, they can announce things on Tuesday. Yes, I know that, but it ain't going to be seen as many people on Twitter as it is on like Raw or stuff. So AEW is going to make some announcements tonight. We know that. They always announce the card for the next week. So they're going to make their announcements tonight. SmackDown, they'll have a chance to counter. Collision will have a chance to counter. Fastlane, though, and we've seen this, and I actually forgot about this in my tweet. Fastlane can, I don't know if they'll be able to counter stuff, but Fastlane's going on as Collision is going on. So whenever they announce, they'll do the Dynamite announcements on Collision. Let's say about 9:30, 9:40-ish, depending on how long the main event's going to be. So Fastlane just before the main event, which we presume is going to be about 10:30, so maybe like 10:15, Fastlane can make announcements for NXT if they want, or they can hold off on Raw. Hey, you know what they could actually do is they could say, on Raw, we'll have more NXT announcements. So tune into Raw for more NXT announcements. And then on Raw, they can do their final whoever is going to be there for NXT. So they got the last television announcement game. Yes, or AEW can announce something at 11 p.m. Eastern Monday night after Raw. Yes, both companies can announce something Tuesday on social media. But TV-wise, where your most viewers are, because there are more people watching the television than there are online, I hate to break it to everybody, that's where WWE has the advantage when it comes to announcements. I'm super looking forward to what AEW is announcing for Title Tuesday. It's Title Tuesday, so you know we're getting title matches. We already got Saraya and Shida. Edge and Luchasaurus is not a title match unless they put the prehistoric belt on the line. That fits because one is old and one is a dinosaur. Ha 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 ha. So they can put the prehistoric belt on the line for that match, possibly. I tweeted Tony. I tagged Tony. I said, announce Danielson Omega 2 and announce MJF and Orange Cassidy. And people are like, Orange Cassidy, huh? Orange Cassidy is a draw, my people. A draw. Look at all the quarter hours and all the online viewership and all that stuff. The man does some numbers. So Orange Cassidy is a draw. Sting, they got to get Sting on this show as well. Sting is a big draw. Who else is a top tier draw for old AEW? Riho, yeah, the ratings god, Riho right there. I'm all for Riho just being used in any capacity. Honestly, she rules.
I heard she's 99 pounds.
That is true. I got a sheet in front of me. God damn it. What do you want me to say?
4 years of Dynamite, and that is moment number one.
Bless Jim Ross. Bless Jim Ross. The bunny
around, by the way.
Say that again.
Do you think he sticks around AEW? Do you think he's gonna renew and keep doing what he's doing? They are featuring him differently than they did when they started, which, to be honest, kind of like that.
I like how they're using him right now. Basically, kind of section matches on the pay-per-views, and then the main event of Collision. They're not using him really full time, and they're doing sit downs, which everyone agrees that like he's very good at sit downs, and like he at this point, like he's lost a step as like an interviewer when it comes to these sit downs, but he still has the cachet with the audience, and he makes funny faces or just like stares off, which is hilarious to me. I hope he continues to have a job just because like JR is a legend, man. And I know people get mad at his commentary or whatever. As someone who just likes the laughs and the pops, I think his commentary rules. I don't care about insight. Who cares about that? Jon Moxley, what insight did he really have during the match? I mean, he actually did have a lot. But what did we remember from Jon Moxley? The holy shit. Yeah, fuck this guy, Brian. and talking about tantric sex. That's what we cared about with John Moxley. Him explaining holds, don't give a shit.
He doesn't need to. He's the best color commentator in the business. He's not there to tell you how much a hold hurts. He's here to tell you the colorful things that the wrestler does that's in the ring. The extracurriculars. I appreciate that.
People saying Jade's showing up on Tuesday.
Okay, hold on. This is what I said. I said on Saturday, if the reports are true and she's coming to Indianapolis, and she's going to be, maybe she's on screen, maybe she's not, that's not confirmed. But either way, if she's going to be in Indianapolis where Fastlane's happening, you put her on screen as the big, like, do an in-ring quick little interview. And they're like, where are you going to debut? And she'll be like, how about Tuesday on NXT? I'll tell you which brand I'm on. And then our whole Cody Jade thing, we can do it. We can still do it because they'll be on the same program and everything. And Jade gets to tell everyone where she's landing. That's when you do it.
Here's my conspiracy theory with Cody.
I
don't mind that Jade showing up and everything, because I told you I want Jade and Cody holding the belts up to end the show. It doesn't look like we're going to quite get that. But here's my conspiracy theory when it comes to Cody. They say Cody has a major announcement, right? And everybody's saying Dusty Classic, Dusty Classic, Dusty Classic. I do think that will probably be what he does.
But, by the way, that was something that you and I talked about.
Yes.
But we originally said it was going to be North American title, then drops it at deadline, and then the next Tuesday makes the announcement 2024 we're bringing back the Dusty Classic. I just want to put that out there.
It seems likely that he'll announce Dusty Classic next week. Here is my conspiracy theory, though. That graphic that they showed on the show last night, Cody is in his gear. Cody's wrestling next week, everybody. He's going to come out to start the show. So what do you want me to announce? And then he's going to do his big Dusty Classic announcement. And then he's going to be confronted by the Judgment
Day. Yes!
It's going to set up Dom and Cody main event. Because the through thread, we need a reason for people to stick around. We're going to get John Cena at the crossover. And then Dom and Cody main event, North American title. We're getting the Codester, baby. Codester finishes the NXT story, wins the North American title. That's my conspiracy theory.
And then he goes on. Does he do the Iron Survivor match, or does the North American Championship get the ladder match at deadline?
I have no idea. That's too far away from me. Let's talk about the because Tuesday. we're getting the Uso, Jay, and Cody against Judgment Day at Fastlane. So this is where it also ties in of whatever happens at Fastlane. You know, do Cody and Jay win the titles? Then that gives them more reason to confront on NXT. I assume they're going to do something for on Raw as well. Cody's wrestling next Tuesday. Mark it down, everybody.
I'm very excited. And we are going to take the victorious lap on Wednesday. If
this man wins the North American title next Wednesday's show, I'm bringing all the Codester stuff back. I'll have the neck tattoo. I'll do it. That's really all. I'm not shaving my head and dyeing my hair. That's a little too far. That's a Steven Jensen bit that got ruined at WrestleMania because they were cowards and didn't put the title on him. But I'll have the neck tattoo, which is not a real tattoo. It's just something I printed out and will tape to my neck. We're going full Cody Rhodes though next week, baby. If this happens,
you get one of the headbands, like, you know, the just to get your hair back.
I've worn a bald cap before. Yeah,
here it is.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I did a bald cap. I went to Party City and bought a bald cap just for a bit, and then I returned it the next day because I was never gonna wear it again.
You don't want to do Stone Cold for Halloween?
Nah. I did the bald cap, and then the next day I was actually Stone Cold for Halloween as a youngster, a young Jeremy went as Stone Cold. I didn't do the bald cap though. I had they had the mask that I could just put on. One person recognized me and it was like, "Oh, you're Steve Austin." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kick Vince McMahon's ass." It popped this dude. I was probably like 11 years old at this point.
You didn't give him a stunner?
Nah, I should have stunned him for the candy. He did give me extra candy though, because I was a pro wrestler. So
good on you. I like that. Anyway, next week is going to be a lot of fun. I don't care about the whole like, oh, it's petty. Yeah, sure.
Good.
You know what? It's petty. It's funny. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna watch both shows on Tuesday, and or maybe one. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna watch, but I'm going to watch them both at one point. My ratings count doesn't matter because I live in a country that doesn't do the same ratings as the US. So for me, I don't give a shit. I can just watch the show and enjoy it or not enjoy it if they don't put on a good show, because that also exists. And then I'm going to talk about it on Wednesday with you and we're going to have fun. That's just the way it goes.
Good. Let him be petty. I want Tony Khan to load this thing up. We need somebody in the chat saying Cody's stealing TK playbook. I need a Tony Khan announcement for next week as well. No, you don't make announcements, Joel. I need the Tony Khan announcement. So Cody's got a major announcement. So Tony needs a monumental announcement. Tony Khan has a monumental announcement for next Tuesday. You got to really deliver on that. I don't know like what's monumental. But you gotta go with something. I don't care. Disappoint me, Tony. Don't really care. Just hype it up as much as you can. I don't have expectations, so I can't be disappointed. Hype it up as much as you can. Now, major is higher on the list than very important.
No, I know, but like has he done major?
Yeah, he's done major before.
I mean, I've seen huge and then important and very.
I'm pretty sure
important.
they've done. Hold on, there's a lot of Tony Khan graphics out there.
I know. Well, I have a bunch of them.
Major announcement.
I have. We will hear from Tony Khan. I have Tony Khan will announce the first main event match.
So he's done. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if these are fake or not at this point. So he's done important. He's done huge. He's done very important. So let's stress the difference between important and very important. I don't know if he's actually done major. Well, Cody is doing major now, so you can't do it. I need monumental. Monumental.
Jeff Valley Driver has it. It's a seismic.
Oh, that's good.
Well, okay. So actually, I want to discuss this real quick. Did you find it a little strange, or maybe I'm just overthinking it? Nobody really took Tony to task over the whole new era discussion, because he was asked about it on the pre-call, the pre-press conference call, and he just kind of he played it up as a promoter. He played it up as, no, I'm not going to clarify it. Nothing's going to be clarified, but it's going to be this and that. I'm not going to blow out the expectations. Y'all can do that yourself. And then the rated R era, the Adam Copeland signing was basically this new era, and no one really took him to task for it. No one really said like, how is this a new era, or what is the expectation that this is a new era? What's Adam? I don't know. And I'm not speaking as like, oh, why didn't they do this? It's more just like, I'm wondering why it wasn't asked. I'm wondering why it wasn't brought up.
I don't think there's anything to take him to task over. He said new era. He's given us the rated R era. If you're disappointed that that's what it was, again, we created a little bit as well the expectation of like, oh, what if it's a New Japan thing? Like he showered the New Japan thing. He's like, no, I'm not buying New Japan. And then that really got deaded when MLW is announcing a partnership with New Japan like a day later. So I don't think there was anything to take him to task over. Should he have been asked about it? Yes, I do think that. I think somebody should have been like, hey, you said new era. Is Adam Copeland the rated R era? Is that what you were talking about? And then he could address it. But there was nothing like, Tony, you promised. He didn't promise us anything. He said new era. And then people took it as like, oh, what's it going to be? Is it going to be an announcement? He never even said it was going to be an announcement. He just said new era. That's it.
You're right. And you know what? My wording was a little more harsh than I think it should have been.
I'm taking you to task for your wording of taking him to task.
Yes, I hear that. And again, that's why I kind of backtracked, and I was just like, I don't think this was a bad thing. I think it was more why nobody asked about it, just to at least get confirmation, or at least get, something on the record that this was the new era and what it pertains to in terms of AEW moving forward. That's what I was coming at, because I just noticed that no one had really asked him about that.
I agree. Somebody should have asked in the press conference. I completely agree with that. I was messaging people to ask about. I can't help it that nobody listens to me when I text them and DM them of like, hey, ask this question, and then nobody does.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Kate to task on Sunday when we do our show. I will take Kate to task. We won't talk about Fastlane. Instead, we're just going to talk about how Kate didn't ask the right questions. at the press scrum afterwards.
Nobody asked Danielson about the Fox chant. Everybody disappointed young Buddy Danielson by not chanting Fox in the middle of his match with Zack Sabre Jr. Crowd ruined that match. Everything else about that match was perfect, but no Fox chants. I got to knock it down to 6.25 stars.
Oh, speaking of 6.25 stars, we should probably tell you guys that 11:15 a.m. Eastern, Shakiel Mahjouri is going to be joining us. Who is Shak? Well, he used to work on Fightful. He still does. He does the Fightful Roundtable once a month on the main channel. But Shak was our MMA guy for a while, and now he's moved on. He's with CBS Sports. He did an interview with Adam Copeland that a lot of you saw that dropped yesterday. So Shak's going to join us at 11:15 a.m. Eastern to talk about that and a whole bunch more wrestling stuff, because believe it or not, he's still a wrestling fan.
He does more wrestling than he does MMA now. He interviews a bunch of wrestlers.
It's true.
He's got an interview today. I don't want to spoil it for him, but I saw it because it is public. It was just on Reddit. But an interview with a WWE superstar that is supposedly happening maybe today. Hopefully it happens for him. I know how these things are. You know how these things are, Joel. You don't like to announce these things or say these things, but he has put it out there in the Reddit space, if nothing else.
So Shak's going to join us. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the interview. We'll talk about everything. And by the way, speaking of things that were interviewed, things that were announced, Impact just announced that the night after Bound for Glory, they're taping Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay. I'm looking forward to that match. As a guy who covers Impact, that's a nice little match to have, and I'm sure it'll get things moving forward to the. Okay, there we go. They say if Alexander wins the world title at Bound for Glory, the match will be a world title match. And then they're going to go to the UK the week after Bound for Glory, and they have Turning Point. So it looks like Ospreay is going to be in the world title and, the big picture of Impact for the next few weeks. That looks fun.
What does that have to do with CM Punk coming to Impact?
Well, it has nothing to do with CM Punk, but it has everything to do with Bram getting re-signed.
Senior Nerds ask, why did Fox chant? Okay, let me explain this quickly, which means about 20 minutes for everybody.
Good.
Danielson, when he was doing media, was telling the story about he's missed a lot of stuff with his son Buddy and everything. And he found out that his son Buddy was saying the F word. Fucks, everybody. Fucks. And so he's laughing. Danielson's cackling when Bree is telling him this. And so Buddy thinks this is the funniest thing in the world and wants to keep saying it. Bree, kind of a genius, honestly. Bree genius. Tells Buddy, no, you're saying it wrong, Buddy. It's pronounced Fox. It's pronounced Fox. That's how you're supposed to say it. So Buddy is just going around saying Fox, 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 thinking he's saying a bad word. But Bree has now gotten him to say Fox instead of fucks. No Amdar influence. And so Danielson said in the interview, yeah, the whole arena should just chant Fox during the Zack Sabre Jr. match. My son would love this. And then nobody did it. A bunch of cowards. Brie Bell is a genius, though.
Remote. You think she has that?
Again.
I hope she does too, and I hope she comes back with some. I hope Beth Phoenix sings Bree's theme music. I hope that's Beth Phoenix's new gimmick. She is a legitimate singer, so I would love for her to do the new Bree mode theme song. That'd be fun.
Stomp your foxing head in is good. I hope Danielson screams that one day. I'm gonna kick his foxing head in, and Buddy's watching, just pops. He's like, Dad said the curse word.
I can't believe this kid. How old is Buddy now? He's probably 3?
Yeah, he's 3. He's saying fuck at 3. My God.
I mean, if my kid ever gets to that point, I'm gonna have to get the soap out.
I hope your kid turns 3, Joel.
Me too. It'd be nice. Maybe we'll get him to 2 first, and then we'll talk from there. Anyway, yeah, man. Dominic Mysterio recaptured the North American Championship last night. Were you surprised? He beat Trick. He had the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley was like, "Don't come back, or I'm leaving you if you don't win the North American Championship."
No, I wasn't surprised for 2 reasons. 1, Cody's got to win the title next week, and he wasn't going to beat Trick Williams for it. 2, the moment Rhea Ripley said, "Hey, don't come back if you don't get this title," I was like, "Oh, he's going to win this title." Because they ain't doing any type of split between them right now. So they almost telegraphed it. And then once Mello left and all of Judgment Day was there, it's like, oh, yeah, Trick is screwed on this one. So, no, I wasn't surprised at all.
We had Cam Hawkins having a meltdown throughout the entire episode, by the way. if people weren't asking when Trick and Mello were going to fight and him getting upset about that, they were asking where his buddy Trick, where Trick's buddy Mello was. So, poor Cam. He was going through it last night.
I do think that it was a little wrong to kind of hot shot it like that. I don't think they needed to do that. Like they should not have they shouldn't have done it. They just put the belt on Trick for 2 days and then okay, you get the glare with Mello and everything. I like the promo between them last night. I like Braun Breaker trying to be like, "Hey man, these fans don't care about you. Look what they did to me. Trick doesn't care about you." And then it set up everything. But at the same time, Mello left when Trick had this match. He knew Judgment Day was there. It set up some stuff. It just feels like you could have set that up without basically just giving Trick this 2-day transitional run.
You know what? Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Braun and Mello interaction. While they do have the match next week, what if they end up tag teaming? What if they go in the Dusty Cup together, a la Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, and they win, and they go on just a 2-man power trip tear, win the NXT Tag Championships from the family, just absolutely destroy NXT as a heel duo.
I don't think that's where I saw you bring that up of them like kind of teaming and kind of destroying everything. I don't think that's going to be the direction. I'm not mad at it. I think it can work. The problem with that is you gotta do. I mean, Braun and Ilya would be a great match. But what's the overall end game there? They win the tag team titles, and then like Judgment Day is no, the family is the tag team champions. I was thinking you mentioned Judgment Day with the other stuff, and so I was thinking, I mean, they're on the show all the time anyway. So they win the tag team titles for the fit, but what's the end game? They split, and then do they win the NXT North American title from Dom? Like Dom's already a heel. Like I don't quite know the end game there, and they got time; they could figure it out. But I don't think they're going to go that way. I don't mind it as long as they actually map it out a little bit better.
There's also the Von Wagner piece kind of floating over.
No, that guy's done. He's
done?
not coming back.
Yeah, head bleeding and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that spot was real and totally not a work?
Yeah, he's done. He's from what I've been told. This is all fake, by the way. From what I've been told, he is no longer in capacity to do anything. He's at the local medical facility, and we don't know when he'll be back.
Wow, it's like Kyle O'Reilly with the seizures all over again.
Man, that was a
banner evening for wrestling.
That was a night. Yeah.
Ooh, buddy.
That was a rough one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't trust wrestling fans. Let's move along.
They're all stupid.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, we?
Yeah, we.
Yeah, no, okay, I get it. Anything else from an? Oh, the parade of challengers. We had the triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship #1 contendership. Lyra Valkyria is going to take on Becky Lynch at Halloween Havoc. I'm looking forward to that match. Lyra Valkyria is like this. I've been following her since before she showed up in NXT UK. I like that they're trying to do something more with her as a character. I really hope that she figures out what that character is soon, other than just her, and it's not a bad thing, but I'm waiting for that one thing to happen that gets her beyond the really good wrestler who likes to wrestle.
I'm looking forward to that. The match last night was like fine. Roxanne Perez getting booed was something. I do like that Kiana James is like, you're gonna face Asuka next week, but they're bringing Asuka to this show.
I said that
as well, which rules. Like you're gonna face Asuka next week, and then greatness out of Roxanne Perez on the Twitter where she's like, thanks dummy for giving me a match that I've always wanted, a dream match. Great tweet by Roxanne. Very great tweet. I'm looking forward to Roxanne and Asuka. Yeah, Lyra, she needs a little bit more. I think Becky's gonna bring something more out of her. They got a week to build that. They got a couple weeks, I guess. I assume Becky will be on the show next week as well. So you're getting Becky, Asuka, Cody, Cena. Who else they bring in? Judgment Day will, I'm sure, be there.
Heyman.
Heyman.
I'm sure Jimmy Uso is going to show up if Paul Heyman's coming, because
Yeah.
that's going to feed into the Jimmy and Roman, who's the head of the table now guy dynamic.
Maybe. I don't know if Jimmy's going to show up or not. It's possible.
I
It's
feel like
possible.
Jimmy thinks he runs this now with Roman out,
True.
and
True.
Roman is scheduled to come back in a few weeks to SmackDown to set up the PLE in Saudi in November, early November. I think this is the just ramping it up. We're gonna get more Jimmy saying that he's in charge type of thing.
Okay. I think we also got to see how things play out on Saturday with Cena and LA Knight. Oh, what if they bring LA Knight to the PC?
Yeah,
Bring him back. Oh, who gets the bigger pop in the PC? John Cena, who hasn't been there since 2013, or LA Knight, who he did all pandemic stuff largely at the PC. I feel like
he
the
did.
Cameron Grimes feud was really good. Was that during pandemic? All this blends together for me.
I think it
But that
was.
was really good.
He
Yeah.
showed up. So he showed up in the pandemic, and he showed up when they were starting to bring people in. Because I remember it was LA Knight showed up during a pre-show panel in the
Yeah.
PC, and he took the microphone, and Sam Roberts was there, and I think Peter Rosenberg too, or at least some bald guy was there, and he took the microphone and started talking. Then he walked off. But yeah, he was largely pandemic, and then they started bringing people back for 2.0, and LA Knight was still there. So he had a little bit of time in front of the audience.
Okay. So get LA Knights in there. Let's bring them all. Bring them all there. Do you think this is something I thought about? I think AEW should punt next week. Just be like, you know what? We're gonna put on just like a show. They've already announced Adam Edge and Luchasaurus, and they've already announced Saraya and Sheeta. These are just sort of normal matches that you'd probably just get whenever. Like they always do stuff for Dynamite. Do they load it up? I think they do, by the way. But should they just kind of put on like a normal show? Hey, here's a Ray Phoenix open challenge against Brian Cage or somebody. Like, sure. I guess Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson could be the champion by next week. Not punt in a sense of like, hey, don't do anything. Just give like a normal show. Don't stack it with like an MJF title match, which I think we're going to get, by the way. Don't stack it with anything like that. Don't stack it with a Danielson Omega. I don't know what they're actually going to do, but like, don't stack the show. Just kind of do a normal show. You got to do title matches because you've already dubbed this thing Title Tuesday. And then just be like, see what you get. And then if you lose, it's look what NXT had to do to beat us. And look what we did comparatively. And if you beat them somehow, it's like, we just did a normal show and we beat you guys.
Are you suggesting MJF versus Dutch for the AEW World Championship? Because it's okay if you are. He'll recreate WrestleMania 3 with Dutch just to say he did.
He will.
He would.
He will.
He already did it, at Wrestle Dream with the tweet and the slam and everything.
MJF and Satnam Singh.
Oh, let's go.
That's what we need.
And then they retell the entirety of WrestleMania 3 of Hogan.
They should just, spot for spot redo the match.
Yeah, just do it. And that would get people moving over. Battle of the Spears, Copeland versus Goldberg.
MJF doesn't know going into if he's gonna win. Satnam's got to tell him in the ring of like, going over, brother. That's the old Hogan story of like, I didn't know who was gonna win that night. Andre, boss man had to tell me while we were out there. It's like, your time. Like, oh, thanks, boss man. Appreciate that.
Wait a minute. And then years later, the story was we had to write out the entire thing beat for beat because his memory was so bad.
Story changes. You never know on this stuff.
I hate it here. Anyway, let's do MJF doing a WrestleMania 3 recreation with Satnam saying Dutch, whoever. That would be great.
Oh, it's got to be Satnam. We've already seen it with Dutch. It's got to be Satnam right now.
We did, but we didn't see a one-on-one match. We didn't see the real thing. But yes, whether or not they should just continue on and tell the same story, I think that AEW would be served to continue telling the stories that they're telling week to week and trying to build the best weekly show they can. The one advantage that NXT had just now is taking a lot of the the Raw and SmackDown talent and adding them to make the matches on NXT bigger, right? John Cena is cornering somebody. Paul Heyman is cornering the other guy in the main event. Asuka versus Roxanne is not only a match that Roxanne's saying she wants, but it's like a challenge match from her newest opponent in sorry, what's her name? I was about
Kiana
to say
James.
Kiana James. I was thinking K's and J's. They're gonna have to change Kalani's name now because now it's K's and J's. So yes, this is a whole. We're making it bigger by enhancing who's on the show. Cody's the only potential to have a match with Dominic Mysterio and win the North American Championship. So there you go. That being said, AEW doesn't have the same opportunity because this is their show. And that's not to say they can't have a really, really strong show. They have to have a really strong week of television ahead. So Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision all have to hit this week for people to be invested and interested in watching whatever they put on next week. Don't give me a bunch of dream matches just because you saw what's going on next Tuesday. You can easily just put on a really, really solid show with a lot of meaningful title matches that you set up throughout the week. Do I trust them to do that? Unfortunately, I don't always, because I talked about this with people during Wrestle Dream. I'm like, the wrestling is never the problem. The act of wrestling for these people is always good. That's why they have these jobs. That's why they go out there and entertain. They're always good at telling stories in the ring. I need the story personally to be invested. And if I'm not invested, then the story doesn't mean nearly as much. So whatever happens tonight between Nick Jackson and Rey Fenix, the match that whatever they're setting up for next Tuesday should be equally important. Should Saraya and Hikaru Shida, should they be main eventing next week? As of right now, I mean, it's the only title that's officially on the line. So yes.
Well, the line out's 2 matches right now.
Well, no, I'm just saying between the 2 matches announced, should Edge main event, or sorry, Adam Copeland, should Adam Copeland main event, or should it be the title match? Typically, Tony would go for the title match, but then you also have the in-ring debut of Adam Copeland. So who knows? I want to see stuff that makes sense, that invests me in the show this coming Tuesday.
They're gonna announce more title matches. It's
Of course.
Title Tuesday.
Of
They're
course.
gonna announce 5 more title matches. What do we have? If Moxley is cleared, do you do Moxley and Phoenix for the international championship?
Yes, if your plan is to put it back on Mox and continue whatever Moxley was supposed to be doing with that international championship. If they were just like, no, we needed the moment, and now we're just kind of booking Moxley week to week till we figure out what to do. No, keep it on Phoenix. But also, I'm going to contradict myself for a minute because Phoenix injured himself on Sunday at Wrestle Dream. He was taken out of the match. He was late to be cleared last Wednesday. I'm a little nervous about Phoenix's longevity week to week as a competitor, because we've seen even before the international championship when he was very spotty with being pulled from shows, being put on shows at the last minute, whatever it was. Like, he's had a lot of injury problems. And if you're putting a title on someone, especially a singles title, and expecting him to defend this particular title, the international championship, which is a workhorse week to week title, thanks, Orange Cassidy. Now you have to have somebody who's willing to do that. And I'm not saying Phoenix isn't willing to. Is he available and able to? So that's really where my concern is with Rey Fenix continuing as international champion. I'd rather they go back to Mox, go back to whatever they were planning for Mox, assuming the plan was something and not just big moment having Mox win, and then just we'll figure it out on the way.
I think the plan was likely Ricky Starks. That's at least where it seemed like things were headed there. So yeah, if Moxley's cleared for next week, I think Moxley and Phoenix rematch could make sense. Ishak saying Christian versus AC for the TNT title. No, Copeland's wrestling Luchasaurus.
No, he means Adam Cole.
Well, he's injured, so again, no.
But how bad?
How bad? I don't know. Yeah, why sellable? That's the match that people seem to be leaning towards. Bucks and FTR. Everyone was pretty sure it was going to be Full Gear because Los Angeles and everything. And now with this gimmick, it's like, oh, let's hot shot it to next week. I kind of think you still sort of save it for Full Gear. But They might hotshot. I think we'll probably get an FTR match. I just don't know against who. Like who makes sense as challengers for them that isn't. I mean, they're doing open challenge gimmick, so it could literally be anybody, I guess.
Oh,
But
is this the week you do GYV at Title Tuesday? Introduce them because it's the NXT crowd.
I mean, sure, but like the last time we saw them, they were dyad stuff. Like I don't know how big of a I don't know how much like grizzled young veterans mean. Like I don't.
They're not as big. You're right. And that's why I was saying you do a very, very good week of television to build to something. You need a very strong week of Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision to build to next Tuesday's Dynamite. That's why I keep hammering that home. Keep making these shows mean something and make me want to watch so that next week I'm going to want to watch on Tuesday.
A rematch or like Bucks and FTR going to a draw and then doing a rematch. I can see that. They got a million titles. Do they do an elite if they don't do Bucks and FTR, do they do elite 6-man match?
I'm
What
trying
do you
to
think?
think who would it be?
Swerve, Cage, and somebody like for story purposes, that would make
Swerving
the
Dukes
most
of Agony.
sense.
I mean, I was saying Elite would be it would be a 4-man or be an 8-man tag. You
With Kenny.
The problem is you'd be plucking Kenny from the Jericho feud, or you bring Jericho would want to come over, so it'd be a 10-man tag.
Okay, what about Jericho and Omega against FTR? We're getting Jericho and Omega against Sammy and Takeshita tonight. Let's say the winner of that, it could be Sammy and Takeshita, but for the purposes of ratings next week, Jericho and Omega win, and then we get Jericho and Omega against FTR next week.
So yeah, you can run with that, and I wouldn't hate it. Did they mention in their promo on Saturday that they wanted to go for tag gold, or did they just kind of skirt
No,
that?
they mentioned Bobby Hole, and then a bunch of people Googled him and were like, "This guy's a piece of shit."
No, that was the press conference on Sunday.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking Collision, the promo that they had together in the ring. Did they mention the tag titles, or did they just kind of say we're gonna try and coexist?
It was more of like a coexist type of thing, but you may as well. Hey, you know what? Dax put it out there last night. Sting and Darby deserve a shot. They're undefeated. You want to try to pop FTR, Sting and Darby title Tuesday? Like
Okay,
they
so
could.
this is what I thought. Jeff Valley Driver said the first promo, Kenny specifically said they were not going for the titles. Plans
Yeah.
can change. Jericho can talk them into it, but I don't see a reason to do it if they've put it out there canonically that they're like, nah, we just want to take out the
Well, the
Don
reason
Callis.
is they're bringing John Cena to the PC, and so that changed everything.
I am the greatest of all time. No, I am the greatest of all time. Pro Wrestling Podcast is pretty neat, sending us super chats. Go ahead and do that. Any amount of question statement right on the air, and they're in the chat. They're doing their thing. We appreciate all y'all for hanging out with us. Shak Mahjouri is going to join us in about 20 minutes time, talking about his Adam Copeland interview and so much more. So come and hang out with us. But yeah, the idea of this coming Tuesday, I think tonight's AEW Dynamite is going to set the tone for whether or not we should be excited for next week's episode on Tuesday.
Oh, they're gonna load it up. I mean, I just threw out there, hey, do you maybe punt because you can then it's a built-in excuse of why you possibly lost. And again, by saying punt, I'm not saying, hey, just throw nothing. Don't give the fans anything. That's stupid. But for the most part, Dynamite week to week is a good show, especially in ring. Like it's a good show. I don't think they punt any week. I'm just saying there's a difference between just doing a normal show and then, hey, let's go all out and put our biggest stars in the biggest matches and just give away stuff on free TV. Look, they got a lot in the chamber, by the way, that they probably should be doing on free TV. So I wouldn't even begrudge them for doing some of this stuff. I think you got to get an MJF title match in there, but who makes sense for MJF? That is also feels like a big match because I don't know if like bless Roderick Strong, it feels big-ish, but like does it feel big enough to do here? Like what feels like a what feels working for MJF here for the title match?
So I don't know, only because while you were talking about the MJF title match, I was like, what if it's an Eddie double title match?
Jay White is there, but it feels a little too soon. That feels like a hot shotting match right there.
And again, we talked about that on the Monday show or even the Friday show. The feeling was MJF versus Jay White is a full gear match, while Swerve wins the hopefully going to be announced tonight world title eliminator tournament at Full Gear. That's kind of where my brain is at there.
Swerve you could possibly do next week. You could possibly do Swerve and MJF next week. Because it's not, people may be, oh, what's the story, blah blah blah. Like Swerve beat Hangman, that's the story. You're just doing this one off. It doesn't have to be this overarching type of thing. And then look, Swerve can still be in this title eliminator. Maybe he doesn't win that. I think that's a big enough match that you can do next week, and you can easily go back to Swerve and MJF down the line if you're not setting up Swerve for something sooner rather than later. If you are setting him up for this world title eliminator title victory, then yeah, probably just don't have him lose the match and then win the world title eliminator and then face MJF again. That doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense. But if you just want to give Swerve the match for beating Hangman, do it. And then Swerve can, I don't want to say background play while Jay White gets his shot. And then they do the world title eliminator, but Swerve can just do other more meaningful stuff during this. Swerve and Omega. I know Omega's tied with the Jericho stuff right now, but I'd like to see Omega kind of be part of the elite again because he's part of the elite. They're blurring and not always in the best way a lot of stuff right now.
I'm looking at the roster and I'm wondering who would make sense for an MJF title match. Do you have Sammy Guevara? Is that no, it's not. It's not, nothing speaking to me. And I'm also trying to look at the singles. I know that the win-loss doesn't really matter as much in AEW, but like, is there any standout record?
What? Let me, I'm going to throw a name at you here in a second, but first I'm going to confirm if I can throw this name at you.
Okay.
And by confirm, I mean, I need to see, I don't have any insight. Everyone knows this. I'm not a person with insight.
Is it Wardlow?
It's not Wardlow, but that's actually, I don't know like how hot Wardlow is right now.
Oh, all if you ask him, he's very hot.
That's good. All right. Let me see if this man is wrestling on this show. I feel like he is, but maybe he's not. Okay. He is not. So let me throw this name at you.
Okay.
There's no New Japan show on this day. He is not wrestling on the New Japan show on October 9th. William Ospreay and MJF. Tanahashi would be cool.
We've done that before. Yeah. Okay. Yes, but no, because now you're starting to bring MJF into the Jericho Omega story, and he's already intertwined with the Bang Bang Gang Kingdom story, where I think we're crossing a little too many streams at that point.
Are you bringing him in to that story, or again, are you just doing sort of like a little one-off gimmick here? Don Callis comes out. He wants gold. Ospreay is the guy who defeated Jericho, the guy who defeated Omega. Now he wants to go after MJF. It's sort of a one-off, but also makes sense in that Will Ospreay would want this match here. And then that's it. Then maybe you go back to it a little bit later on with Callis and stuff. There's stuff you can do as a one-off, and I think the same thing with Swerve. There's stuff you can do as a one-off that makes sense that you can go back to. This is why I don't like the Jay White idea, because it seems like there's a larger plan at work for that. And it seems like you should build that a little bit more instead of, hey, one-off and then let's toss it aside. Like they're trying to work on something there. So no, I mean, maybe just because I'm the one throwing it out there. But Will Ospreay.
See, here's the thing. As a match, absolutely would love to see it. As a randomly tossed on an episode of Dynamite to make a big deal, I don't think I want that. Especially as MJF is like, I'm beat up, I'm defending these titles, yada, yada, yada. Someone has to talk him into defending it if anything happens. That's why maybe not Swerve, but if you want to introduce Swerve into everything, Brian Cage versus MJF for the world title.
Brian Cage ain't big enough. I mean, he's Wolverine, but
He's
like
very big.
he ain't the name there. It's gotta
But this
be
is why it's an ensemble. Sorry to cut you off. This is why it's an ensemble cast environment that you have to take advantage of. It shouldn't necessarily be that the world title match is the only match you want to see. You should be trying to build that the entire card is worth sticking around for. We talk about the through thread of doing Cody and Dominic as the NXT Tuesday, as next Tuesday's like big through thread with John Cena in the middle. We're trying to put together a show on AEW that is going to make people want to stick around. Claudio is another good idea that you can toss out there. But again, why? That's going to be the big question: is how do we get there and why are we doing it?
All right. Let me give you my honest suggestion, Joel Pearl. Not trolling. Definitely 1,000,000% not trolling. This is logical. And I will tell you why as well. And I will tell you why it makes sense. MJF, Bryan Danielson, strap up the GOAT, baby. Get the belt on Danielson. I don't care about MJF anymore. Get the belt on the GOAT.
Okay, so I know you're not being I know you're not being facetious. I know you're not trying to be a memer, because Brian's on a tear. He's 10-1. He's doing a lot of really big moments and big stuff. MJF brought up the
February.
fact. I know, but I'm just saying, like we did it this calendar year.
So, went to overtime too.
It did. He's saying, hardest hour and 5 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
Do we run that back? But the problem is, who's the heel?
Danielson is whatever the hell he wants to be. So MJF's a scumbag. Who cares about the who's the heel nonsense? They did Danielson and MJF. They got to bring back the tunnels for you, Joel?
I mean, they already have. They basically have people coming this way and that way. So one's the face.
Cares who the heel is.
I do.
It's great professional wrestlers. That's what it is. It's a guy who is winning a bunch of singles matches against MJF. Get the belt on the GOAT, Bryan Danielson.
Chi-Town Spur says Stylander versus Beth Copeland, title Tuesday. Could do it.
I don't feel like Beth Copeland is available.
I also don't think that would do the things that people are expecting it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
who's hot-shotting? What are we hot-shotting? Bryan Danielson, MJF. Bryan Danielson just winning the title. He should hold it forever. I ain't trying to hotshot this title. I'm trying to give this man the forever reign. Athena style.
No, that's me. I'm the forever champ. Remember, we've been through this. Fightful
you don't
champion.
defend.
I do defend it. I defend it every single week on my Patreon.
No, you don't.
I do.
Get the belt on Bryan Danielson. That's all I care about.
I don't hate it, but you gotta get me there. You gotta. I'm saying how does it start? Where do we go? Or does it just get announced cold?
Well, it starts with MJF comes out and is like, I've had a bunch of hard title reigns. And then the GOAT Bryan Danielson comes out and says, hey, fuck you. And then he slaps him. He's like, I beat you. Did Danielson win the first fall on that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, let's just pretend he did. Danielson comes out and says, I beat you in the first fall. I know I can beat you. And then MJF is like, you pushed me to my limit. You gave me the toughest match that I've ever had in wrestling during this reign. You're on a run right now. You say this is your last year in the business. I want to give you this shot. Danielson or MJF is a nice guy, a scumbag nice guy now. He's like, I want to give you this shot. Let's do it next week. And they do it, and Danielson wins, and I don't care what MJF does after that.
So what does Eddie Kingston do?
And Kingston does whatever he wants to.
Sounds good. All right, I'm fine with that. Matt Taven told me that he's got in his back pocket a rematch for the Ring of Honor World Championship he never lost.
Well, so good for him.
Maybe that's it. It's going to be Matt Taven and Eddie Kingston.
They do need to do something with Eddie on this show. I don't know what it's going to be.
I mean, it could be Ethan Page, but that's been playing out on weekly TV. So I don't know, like weekly Ring of Honor TV. So I don't know if that's what they want to do.
Nah, I feel like though if they do any type of match with Eddie, it'll just be like cool Eddie Kingston match.
It'll be Eddie Kingston versus Kojima.
Honestly, possibly. Like, it's not like this super big match or anything, but like it's probably something Eddie would like. What's Nagata doing? Can they bring him in?
I was about to ask, what's Tomohiro Ishii up to?
Yeah.
Have we done Ishii versus Kingston one-on-one in AEW?
In AEW, yeah, I think so. They did the match at G1. I feel like they did one.
They did All Out 0 Hour. That was the match where Eddie got on the mic afterwards and just went ham.
He's like, "Don't cut me off."
Yeah, that was that match.
Eddie rules.
Oh, that was such a great match. Okay, so they've done that one. But it's been a year. We can do it again. Let's run it back. Ishii versus Eddie.
I pitched, by the way, Mark, I pitched MJF and Orange Cat, and Corey says it, MJF. And I pitched this to Tony Khan directly. I said, Tony, book this. And I said, book Danielson Omega 2 as well. So if either of those matches get booked, I'm taking full on credit for it.
Man, our Wednesday, we're just gonna run around like with chickens with our heads cut off, taking those.
Well, I mean, I'll take credit for it on Friday because if they book that match, they're announcing either one of those tonight.
That's fair. But then there's so many victory laps. We're gonna be really, really tired taking all those victory laps.
I don't get tired, Joel. I don't get tired.
You just get burnt out.
I'm exhausted, not tired.
Yeah, that's right. Eddie versus Santana actually is a really good shout. I want to see Shibata and Santana. I want to see Santana do another Pure Rules match. That's what I want in my life.
Daniel Garcia, get my guy Danny Garcia on the show.
Yeah, he hasn't challenged for the Pure Rules title in a month.
I don't want him a Pure Rules title. Just book him. Just have him dancing. You know what'll pop the numbers?
Dance off between DG and Ricky Starks.
Well, no, Nana, Prince Nana, Danny Garcia, dance off.
Then it's a triple threat.
That's what's popping the numbers right there. That's what the people want to see.
Actually,
got to give the people what they want.
I think you have to do the balloons or was it the balloons? Yeah, you got to do the balloons.
Yeah. Hold on.
You got to give the people what they want.
There we go.
Yeah, that's awkward. Yeah. Oh no, maybe it was actually the fireworks. It doesn't matter. We're good.
The balloons. The balloons is the bit. Everything else is just, the balloons is the staple, the original here.
That's true. The balloons really did get us over. By the way, speaking of getting over, Shak's going to join us in 10 minutes. No, not that Shak. Shak Mahjouri from CBS
Should we
Sports.
Interview him like he's Shaquille O'Neal?
We should actually. I think that'd be very
I'm going to do that. Nobody clue in Shak. I assume he's not watching this show. I'm going to ask him.
God, he's not.
I'm gonna ask him who was easier to play with. This is going to be my first question to Shak. Who'd you get along with better? Who was easier to play with? Kobe Bryant or Dwayne Wade? And I want to see what he says.
Should I introduce him as Shak or should I introduce him as Shakiel Mahjouri?
No. Introduce him as like Shaq. Like, yeah, 4-time NBA champion. Do you have like the stats and everything? Pull up the Basketball Reference.
Give me the 4-time NBA champion.
Just go to Shaquille O'Neal Basketball Reference page, and all the accolades are listed up top there. Just introduce him with all these accolades, and this is how we're gonna interview Shaq. We're gonna interview him as Shaquille O'Neal. I want to see like how confused he is to start here.
Oh no, I'm sure someone's done this with him.
I don't think how many people like talk to. Oh yeah, ask him what it was like a team with Jade. That's good. How many people like talk to Shaq about like himself and stuff? I don't feel like he does like this type of stuff. There aren't that many shows like this out there. So, thank God.
That's true. I think I got the ones that I want. Here we go.
Okay, this is nobody clue Shaq in. Okay.
But then do I introduce him as his full first or his full name?
No, we're gonna go with this bit until like the crowd, the chat is loving this. They got so many questions for Shaq.
I'm very excited. So Shaq's going to join us in about 10 minutes time. So I guess get your questions in. You donate a super chat. We will absolutely ask the question, by the way.
No, we're just going to go with this. Who cares about talking about Edge in the interview he did with Edge? Who cares about that?
Our show is so stupid.
We're going to ask him about blue chips. Yeah, I love it.
Our show is so stupid.
Get your questions in for Shaq, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, he's
I
gonna.
don't think we're seeing Mercedes Moné in AEW next week. By the way, I think if they could, they'd probably love to have her just debut next week. But I don't think we're gonna see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. If the earliest I think we could see her maybe is Full Gear in LA, which would be nice, you know. But again, there's lots of time, and she's still got to get better.
Yeah, she's got to. I don't
But
know what her injury status is.
yeah, her injury. I mean, she doesn't need to get better as a wrestler. She's very, very good. I meant she has to get better as in recuperate from her injury.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I don't know what her status is with that. No.
Do you think she'd team up with Shaq?
Oh, Mercedes Moné would 100% team up with Shak.
That's a height discrepancy that I need to see. It's like 5'2" and 7. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, she'd team up with her though, or with him.
By the way, there's someone in the chat saying, you know, I feel like she'll stay in New Japan and do paid appearances with AEW. I kind of feel that, and I kind of agree with that idea that Mercedes Moné sticks around, does New Japan stuff exclusively as contracted, and then works AEW as part of like her agreement that she does one-offs. Her doing the All Elite thing, I don't know, man. That show me that your women's division is doing the things, and if you know, and maybe I would care more. Maybe I would put more stock into the idea, because you can't keep bringing in women and saying the change is here, and then the change doesn't come.
Is that like the British are coming?
Yeah,
the change is here. Ring the bell. The change is here. The change is here. Here comes Saraya. Here comes Ruby. Here comes Mercedes. The change is here. The change is here.
Yeah. You want to change the women division? You put birthday girl Emi Sakura in the main event of every show.
How? I know Emmy got the match against Statlander, but like her and Saraya were maybe kind of sort of building a social media feud that everyone knew was not going to go anywhere. And then it went nowhere. That was so off-putting. So off-putting.
No, that's pretty much as expected these days, unfortunately.
It was kind of sad. I was like, why are we doing that? Again, I assume they were both clued in of like the shots they were taking at each other. I was like, okay, cool. But like, what is the purpose of this? It ain't going anywhere, because Emmy probably ain't going to be on TV. Again, she got the match against Statlander, lost. She ain't going to challenge for the title anytime soon. So we're just like doing this stuff to just be mean on social media. Like, all right.
Well,
like it was mean shots too. It wasn't like, you know, there's some playful stuff, but like,
well, no, Jeremy, here's the thing. You don't understand that these marks, they're all a bunch of marks, and I'm a heel on the internet. So everyone, and why did I just go into I went into a South African accent. But anyway, she's a heel, Jeremy. She's a heel, and heels are assholes. So she's a heel, and therefore she can say whatever she wants, because get this, she's a heel.
Like I know they were ribbing each other. I understood they were both in on it. I don't know, it was just kind of off-putting to me. That's all, because it wasn't going to lead to anything. It just wasn't going to lead to anything. Like if you're going to do like social media like shots, the way they were doing it, if you want to do one-off jokes, fine, have fun, do that all day. But like the way they were doing it, it made you feel like they were building something to it, because they were really going back and forth at each other, and it was nothing. Yeah, just give me the match. Put it on Dark. I don't care.
And that's the thing. Like, put it on Dark. Put it wherever. And like, my solo was like, this is for the Wembley entrance, and that's what it was. It was that Saraya got the Queen Wembley entrance, and Emmy was upset about A, not being on the card, and B, Saraya doing that entrance. And then Saraya was like, well, I'm better than you. And everyone's like, are you though? But here we are. Like, they just went back and forth and it went nowhere. So put it on Rampage this week or something. I don't care. Just birthday girl Emi Sakura versus Saraya this Friday on Rampage. Happy birthday, Emmy.
If all AEW fans are so perpetually online as it's claimed, then why aren't we doing this? Why is it nice when MJF does heel stuff on social, but bad when Saraya? I don't care that she does it. MJF isn't starting feuds with people like Saraya was. MJF is just making one-off comments at everybody. They were beefing with each other. I have no problem if Saraya wants to play a heel. John Silver was doing this too. If they just want to play a heel on Twitter, play a heel on Twitter. But if you're going to go full bore and like trying to build up a match and a feud on social media, deliver on it. If you just want to do a one-off comment, fine. Do a one-off comment. I don't care.
Yeah. Cyclops Better Than Logan is it's sending us some bits over on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming, where we are still very active, I promise. Mercedes Moné left WWE because she didn't like how the women were booked. So why would she go to a federation that books women worse? That's hustling backwards, LOL. Hey man, wherever you get the money, that's where you hustle. So that's where it is.
I do want to address this before our guest joined us as well. Serious question to Joel, Jeremy. How would you want TK to take the women's division seriously, step by step, to the point where the division is taken seriously? We did this a few weeks ago, maybe like a month ago at this point. And basically, we're not going to rehash all of that. Basically, you identify 5 women that you can tell stories with, that you can really get behind, that you can really push, and you make them the focal point. You get 5 or 6 women. We even picked the women we would choose. You get 5 or 6 women, and you just really highlight them week to week, and you go from there.
AI bot Shak, you should know this. You were here for that. So yes. What are you talking about? Anyway, if our guest is ready, he can give us a thumbs up. All right, let's get to it. Folks, very excited to welcome a very special guest here from CBS Sports. 4-time NBA champion, 15-time NBA All-Star.
He's from TNT. Joel from TNT, not CBS Sports.
Oh, I was told CBS Sports. No. 1992, 1993, Rookie of the Year and 3-time Finals MVP. The one, the only, has a pizza ready for you. Shak is joining us now.
And chicken these days.
Chicken and
everything. And icy hot.
Icy hot.
He got punched by a UFC champion the other day. Shout out to 115-pound champion Zhang Wei Li.
How did that feel when you got punched by that champion?
Actually, that was good because I did get punched by a low-ranked UFC women's contender back in the day. And while my father is probably a little outdated with the whole, a man versus woman situation, I got my ass kicked, and it's on GoPro. So if you want to see firsthand footage of what it's like to get whipped by a UFC fighter, I can provide that to you.
Shak, there's big news in the world of wrestling with Jade Cargill coming to WWE. That's official. What was it like teaming with Jade in her first match in AEW against Cody and Red Velvet?
So I am desperately on the look for this information, and I have a contact. I just haven't exercised it yet. What I really want to know from myself, that's what you're alluding to, is it true that QT Marshall really downplayed how much that table spot is going to hurt? Because apparently what I was told from QT directly is that, it's padded, you'll be fine, it's not going to hurt at all. So that's what I really want some clarification on.
It feels like you're pretty hurt. We haven't seen you. You got taken off in the ambulance, and then you're working TNT and everything.
So, okay, I'll pivot here. I used to co-host a podcast, the UFC fighter named Cajun Johnson, and he came to me once with this idea. He's like, I've got this new business idea that I think is going to revolutionize things. I can make a lot of money. I'm like, all right, Cajun, shoot. He says, when you're sitting down on a public toilet and your dang-a-lang hits the water. Well, me being Shak, obviously I can relate to that sensation.
That's right, of course.
So his idea was that it's like a portable bowl that you clip on the inside of any public toilet to sort of hold everything in place for you. Joel, Jeremy, is it safe to say that you guys are in need of this service as much as Shak over here is?
Yes, I feel like they have this, though. Do they not? I feel like this has been made.
I hang it around over the shoulder,
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Very important question for you. What was Nick Nolte like on the set of Blue Chips?
If I knew who that was, I would tell you, but I'm far too famous to care about things like that.
Who taught
you worked with him? Blue Chips. How do you not have memories of Blue Chips?
I do a lot of things. I was just in a rap song. I actually did really well. You guys see that one? I can't. Coyote.
Better teammate. Kobe or Dwayne Wade?
Oh, Kobe's that. Okay, well, I gotta be careful with what I say. Kobe's a legend, man.
Any memories of being with the Orlando Magic?
I don't know what that is. I'm too busy selling fried chicken and doing rap songs for rappers no one's ever heard of.
Where would you put Penny Hardaway on your list of teammates?
I'm pretty hard all the time.
Your thoughts on Jimmy Butler's hairstyle?
Hair is overrated.
You are a
That
bald
tracks.
man.
That
You're
is
a bald man, so that checks out. What's it like working with Charles Barkley every single week?
It's almost as bad as you guys working with Sean Ross Sapp.
Oh, yeah. That's wow, relatable. Holy crap.
Why does Papa John's suck, Shaq? Can you actually get better ingredients in
The
this thing?
secret to all fast food delivery pizza is you just got to order extra sauce or something like roasted tomatoes on top because it's just dry as balls.
Okay, hold on. So Shaq, I'm Canadian. I haven't had a Shaq-a-roni pizza. What's the difference between a regular pizza and a Shaq-a-roni pizza?
So like everything else, it's just extra meat. The Shaq special, man.
Have you ever thought about hitting Charles Barkley on set?
Yeah, I don't even have to. I can just reach across the room, just unzip, hurl it, kind of like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Do you ever feel bad bringing up like how many rings you have compared to him? You're kind of mean. You're kind of bullying Barkley every week.
Oh, sucks to suck.
Will you ever do Kazam 2?
You know what? There's this guy I've heard of, Shakiel Mahjouri, great combat sports journalist. That movie was like intrinsically tied to his childhood. So maybe for him, I'll do a second one.
What are your thoughts on the upcoming season? The season's about to tip off soon. Who do you have as the favorite, Shaq?
So I have been watching The Bear. I don't know when season 3 is coming out, but man, Carmi needs some help because he let a good thing go there. And everyone's doing so well except him. That family's got a lot of mental health issues. Speak to someone, guys. Self-care is the best care.
Okay, let's actually talk about The Bear. I did not know that Shaq was such a big fan of The Bear. Who is your favorite character?
Oh man. So we've just been binging all of it over the last like couple weeks. I gotta say, I love a good redemption story. Richie's really had a nice glow up, so shout out to Richie. It's nice. He's still got a bit of that, sting in him. You saw in the season 2 finale, but he's really trying, man. Listen, I get it. It's hard to not be a loser sometimes, and he was a loser longer than most. So to see him like really do some work on the inside and figure out what makes him happy and what brings him confidence is really nice to see. Also, I mean, shout out to my fellow Canadian Fact. That was a pleasant surprise.
Richie's trying to do well for his kid as well.
He's doing
Like,
great. He's doing. It's just so. Here's the thing, right? Like when people are that stubborn and confrontational and like non-committal for at some like when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, when you're a young adult, you get like a pass for trying to figure things out. And I'm very guilty of not giving people the benefit of the doubt after they reach a certain point in life where it's like, if you're going to be a piece of shit, I guess you're always just going to be a piece of shit. And it's not my responsibility to like handhold people through life. But I'm always so happy for people who finally like take that step to make better decisions for themselves, especially when it's late in life, because it's hard once you start sort of like once those like pillars become very sturdy in your life of like bad decisions and bad habits. So I love a late life glow up. So shout out to Richie.
do you actually use general insurance?
I steal my wife's.
That's probably the way to go. Hey, what was it like tossing that fastball? Look good in the hat, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know. Never watched baseball a day in my life.
Huh.
It's a fun spectator sport in person, but it's a little on TV.
Who do you think is going to win the World Series?
If I could name a team other than the Chicago Cubs, I would.
Well, you could pick the Cubs. I don't
Let's
think
do
they're
it.
in the playoffs, but you could pick them. Do you want to play Who He Play For, Shaq?
Don't know what that is.
All right, so who he play for? I'm going to give you the NBA player, and you got to tell me which team he plays for.
Oh, fuck. All right, let's give it a try.
Are you ready? Gabe Vincent. Who he play for?
Well, Vincent Carter once played for the Toronto Raptors, so I'm just going to go with that.
No, it is the Los Angeles Lakers. He signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, Shaq. All right, that's who Gabe Vincent plays for. Cam Reddish. Who he play for?
Utah Jazz. I got like a 1 in 52 chance here, right?
No, it is the Los Angeles Lakers.
Is it just
Shaq, he plays for the Los Angeles
Oh my God. Now
Lakers.
the question is he going to try to throw a three-peat at me or not right now?
Torian Prince. Who he play for?
Okay. I'm either going to... You're trying to take me one of two ways on this. Either it's obviously the LA Lakers again or it's not. So I'm going to try and split the difference and go with the Los Angeles Clippers.
You were close, Shaq. It is the Los Angeles Lakers. Torian Prince plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. You should keep up better with your old team.
Yeah, well, I'm busy making money selling pizzas and fried chicken. So,
Shaq, do you have anything to promote? I mean, I know you have a lot of things to promote.
Yeah, man. If you guys like MMA content, Shaq MMA is the place to be. Have my copyright strikes potentially killed the algorithm? It seems so, but that'll bounce back in a few months. So that's why I need your support. Interviews with UFC fighters every week, usually like the fight night headliners, the pay-per-view headliners and co-main events, lots of like off-the-cuff stuff there. Shaq Wrestling, it's been trudging along slowly, but I'm happy to say there's still an hour for it to fall apart, but there should be an interview with LA Knight over at Shaq Wrestling today ahead of Fastlane. If you haven't seen, I interviewed Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. You can see the written work on CBSSports.com. That's what I was lured in here with the premise of talking about before I had to cosplay as a man twice my size and probably like 6 inches long. But yeah, that's it. Shaq Wrestling, Shaq MMA, CBS Sports.
Jeremy, I feel bad.
I'm glad you're venturing out from the Icy Hots, from the General Insurance. I feel like you sell the pens as well, from Papa John's, from everything that Shaq sells, and getting into MMA and wrestling. That's good on you.
Well, actually, Shaq I already have dabbled in MMA and wrestling. So,
what was it like being at Bash at the Beach with cornering Hulk Hogan against Ric Flair?
What was it like cornering Hulk Hogan against Rick? I mean, considering some of Hulk Hogan's comments later in life, I probably should have sided with Ric Flair on that one.
That's fair. How come we never got the one-on-one match between you and Paul White? It was teased forever, and then it just never happened.
Gotta ask him.
Chris
Clearly,
Jericho.
I don't have enough going on.
You've done some work with Chris Jericho. What was it like being around him and working with him?
I'm more interested what it was like for Chris Jericho being in the Terrifier, because I recently saw those movies, and that's
whose acting is better, yours or Chris Jericho's?
I plead the fifth on that one because I'd like to keep interviewing them both.
Don't sell yourself short. You were great in Kazam. That's one of the best movies ever.
Kazam is sick. We should have Kazam versus Captain Insano, actually.
Yeah.
You don't remember Blue Chips at all, so that was a good performance.
No Blue Chips, no Blue Chew, man.
Well, they don't sponsor this channel, so it doesn't matter.
I assume they sponsor Shaq. I mean,
how many of those do you think we should ask him? How many of those does it take to actually get you?
I don't know.
Joel, you were saying something?
Jeremy, I feel like we should actually do this for real now.
Why? We are.
You told me 20 minutes, and we got 4 minutes left.
We said we were promoting Shaq, and we got Shaq, and we're talking to Shaq. We're asking very hard-hitting questions here. If you want to ask him something that is not Shaq related and off topic, go ahead, Joel Burrow.
You started a really big conversation about aggregation in interviewing. Yeah, the real Shaq we're talking about. You Shaq. First of all, I will want to get your thoughts about the interview with Adam Copeland, but I want to get your thoughts first and foremost about the concept of how aggregation has changed the game in relation to this interview you did with Adam Copeland.
Yes. So listen, I have sort of taken on a philosophy of I'm going to be on the internet as little as possible outside of work hours. And shout out to guys like Sean and C and Bill Apter who continue to sort of champion guys like me and all the other people who do great work in this industry. Is it a shame that people aren't appropriately sourced and credited and there's this sort of cannibalistic nature of like, I'm just gonna repurpose your stuff for my own tweet. Yes. Am I gonna be the one sort of screaming my head off about it? No, one, because I don't think I'm gonna make much of a dent in that. I don't think anyone is. Like, if so long as social media platforms don't hammer down on this stuff, and it doesn't behoove them to do so, because that will probably just ultimately drive less engagement, nothing's gonna change. I try to just do the work that fulfills me, be a good team player, move on with my day. Also, I'd be a little bit of a hypocrite because I'm definitely one of those guys who like I only do it if it's already copyrighted material, but if like someone like tweets out a clip from like a WWE spot that WWE didn't publish themselves, I will totally just like strip the code and tweet it as my own. It's not even really theirs to begin with. So it'd be a little self-indulgent for me to stand here. I do source people. I do generally retweet stuff that's original reporting, but I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to sit here and toot my own horn too much. But I will say this has been an interesting experience. Obviously, I had the privilege of being one of the first people to talk to Adam after the AEW debut in a long form. He was super forthcoming. It was really great. I'm very grateful for that. I'm mostly just happy to see that people are enjoying the work and that people have insight, and I got to be a part of telling that story. I will say there is one Twitter account, Wrestle Features. I am going to out them because they do the whole thing where they just like quote you and then they just put in parentheses the publication. They specifically replied to one of my tweets asking for more quotes so that they could tweet them with that. I mean, I almost appreciate the ballsiness and I don't really care, but I did think that was hilarious. Like talk about shitting where you're eating, man. That was funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. you handled it very well, so good on you for that.
Like I said, I don't really care, man. I have a thing I started doing now. Like primarily I do mostly UFC interviews. I'm always championing more pro wrestling content. You guys know what it's like. People are either kind of all in or all out on pro wrestling. So sometimes it's a difficult fight to battle. And while MMA is sort of the breadwinner for me, I have all my old action figures sitting here in the office, and it is a bit of a trip anytime I get to interview someone and then go and sift through that and find one of their action figures. So I'm just like a big kid when it comes to this stuff, and I'm not too worried about it. But I am very grateful that there's people like Sean who have the energy and see and who want to sort of highlight people who put in the work.
I'm afraid to throw to Jeremy.
Throw, man.
I've wrapped. I'm done. You want to play another game of who he played for?
No.
I was gonna let you ask about non-basketball, non-Shaq questions. Let Shaq talk about the things outside of the world of Shaq. Joel,
if you have another minute, Shaq, do you have?
Yeah, no. I'm good. I'm good for like another 15 minutes.
Okay. Oh, that's a problem. Jeremy's just gonna sit there and do nothing for 15 minutes.
When you dunk on a man and rub your dick in their face, how does that feel?
This is the round.
The bigger issue is stepping on it.
This is the round table all over again. Anyway, going back to the Adam Copeland interview. A lot of stuff has been said about the way Adam kind of handles interviews and the way that he keeps kayfabe, but also doesn't give you the full answer. When you got it out of him about retirement being a very real option coming out of WWE, and then also the quote about being a very safe bet that AEW was his last full run. Kind of where was your mind at when he started talking about retirement and the possibility of moving on?
Well, it's interesting because you'll see people still sort of dissecting that and wondering how truthful he's being. Like people aren't convinced that timeline really adds up, that he only really started talking to AEW 9 or 10 days out. How honest he wants to be is up to him, and I don't see there being a lot of value in me sitting here doubting him or trying to dissect. I don't want to say semantics, but ultimately the resolution is the same, right? He had his last match in WWE. He is now in AEW. I do imagine, in part, he probably was talking more with guys like Christian and FTR, who were probably kind of serving as middlemen, letting Tony know, like, hey, we're talking to Adam, he's interested. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the official talks really did begin whenever he was sort of contractually free of his WWE obligations. I haven't seen a ton of Adam's other interviews. I was warned that he's very polished. I don't know why he was so much more natural when we talked. I wish there was video. It might have been actually that we were just on the phone. He was in a Starbucks. He asked very politely mid-interview if he could take a break to order a PSL. Which my wife's like, "Did you roast him?" I'm like, I let him know that it's the same thing you would order, but that was about the extent of it. So I don't know. It might have been the circumstances. It might have been the fact that he is in AEW now, and for better or for worse, there doesn't seem to be as much rigidness in sort of maintaining sort of trade secrets. Like we see a lot of guys sort of express the freedom to say what they want and do what they want in AEW. So maybe it has something to do with that. But I'm sure in part there is a sense of relief and a sense of enthusiasm. Like you saw him at the press conference. I told him when we started talking, like, you look like a big kid up there. You were just so happy to have made that debut. And I think he's looking forward to just being able to be enthusiastic and honest and open and be free of some of like the creative restraints that he was feeling in WWE that he attributed in part, yes, to creative, but also like he didn't know what else to do there.
What was your feeling just as a fan when you saw that Adam had shown up in AEW and it was happening?
I was very thrilled. I don't know how much of this like pro wrestling tribalism is just sort of an I always wonder what percentage of people online would act the same way in a day-to-day interaction with somebody, right? So for me, and I saw these tweets doing really good traffic online from all the aggregation, the stuff about like his kids telling him to go to be with Uncle Jay and him wanting to finish his career out with his best friend of 40. I mean, listen, they're both turning 50 in the next 2 months. They have been best friends for like 80% of their life. How anyone can be upset at someone wanting to go and sort of finish telling their story with one of the most important people in their life is beyond me. And I hope that once sort of the impulse reactions of, oh, I'm a WWE fan, oh, my WWE legacy, once those kind of fizzle away, I hope people can see how special and how relatable in a way it is to be put in a really unusual and fortuitous situation to be able to spend these last few years with the people you love most. Like, I don't know how anyone can hate that. And I'm genuinely really happy for him. And also, man, I just want to know how hard it was for Christian to not crack a smile when Edge made his entrance, right? And beyond that, I feel like AEW programming is kind of finding its footing these last several months. I don't know that this is going to be a long-term boost for the company, but I'm hoping that there's a bit of a ratings bump these next few weeks that will show maybe some lapsed AEW fans or WWE fans like there is a consistent product here. They are telling good stories. This is the time, I think, to get some more eyes on the program again.
Well, first of all, long-term friendships and wrestling fans, that doesn't really work. So that's probably where a lot of those feelings are coming from. But also, here's the real question: who finishes the story first, Adam and Jay or Cody Rhodes?
Adam and Jay or Cody Rhodes? Oh God, I mean, it has to be Cody. Like, I cannot imagine them extending this for another full year. I don't know how Dwayne coming back to WWE is going to sort of play a role in how WrestleMania shapes up, but fuck, man, like I already feel like Cody's sort of, I don't want to say stagnating, but he's in this holding pattern right now because everyone, no matter how good the storylines are, because everyone's just waiting, anticipating that the Roman Reigns thing is going to happen again. So I can't imagine they hold off. It'd be such a shame. I mean, if you have Roman headline WrestleMania 2 nights back to back, do it. But I think it'd be a real disservice to Cody if they don't wrap this up because it feels like no one can really move on or move forward or enjoy what he's doing because it all feels like a placeholder for what's supposed to come and what maybe should have already happened.
Jeremy, do you have an actual question now?
Dennis Schroeder, who he play for?
LA Lakers.
Toronto Raptors. Shaq, he was on the Lakers last season. He is on the Toronto Raptors this season.
Fuck me.
I have to stop throwing to him. I'm sorry.
I'm making it very clear that I'm like exclusively a combat sports fan right now.
It's okay. I barely watch hockey and I am a Canadian. So here we are.
Shout out.
Anyway.
Shaq, thanks for joining us. I was not familiar with your game. You are very knowledgeable in the world of MMA and professional wrestling. So we appreciate you. Thank you. You can go ahead and plug your insurance and your Icy Hot and Inside the NBA, which will be returning as the new season begins. Go ahead and plug everything that you're doing again, Shaq.
Yes. Well, the only thing you can't hide in the weeds is my massive peen. But if you want to check out something that's more PG-13, please, Shak Wrestling, SHAK, will have an interview, hopefully today, up with LA Knight. There's a nice thing about wrestling stuff. A lot of it doesn't age out. Go watch me talk to The Undertaker, Malachi Black talking about growing up in a cult. There's a lot of really good stuff there. Also, Shak MMA. That's sort of the breadwinner if you like MMA content. Every week we got interviews with UFC fighters. We have them like re-rank and restructure their divisions. Lots of fun stuff there. Written work, CBS Sports. Go check out the Adam Copeland interview. People seem to like it. That's always a great feeling. Joel, thank you. Jeremy.
Will you do a Shaq Fu sequel game?
Damn it.
I should. I definitely should.
I think so.
Are you regretting having us on your roundtable a year ago and possibly running it back this year?
Well, possibly running it back this year is definitely misinformation. I don't know. Those are your words, not mine.
Joel's trying to get a booking.
That was a shared Delaware moment. That was
a
Pearl moment.
Yeah, sorry. Fightful round. Shout out to Ace Shock. Fightful roundtable every month. We get some of the best people in the industry. If I'm really scrambling, we get these two losers and share. But
that was your best episode, Shaq. Let's not beat around the bush.
Legitimately, Jeremy, you bring the sort of energy that no amount of caffeine or ADHD medication seems to draw from inside of me. So I actually love having you there, Joel. This is a great contrast. Jeremy needs you in more ways than he probably expressed. So yeah, Shaq Wrestling, Shaq MMA, CBS Sports. You can follow me at Twitter on Shaq Fu. Go check out the Adam Copeland interview, guys.
Shaq, thank you so much for joining us. Go win a championship.
Appreciate you guys.
Be nice to Charles Barkley.
No.
Oh gosh.
I'm trying to leave.
What did you do?
We spoke with Shaq. He's got to brush up on his NBA knowledge before the season starts. He doesn't realize how many people switch teams.
Clearly not, and how many wind up on the Lakers, apparently. I hate it here sometimes.
What?
What did you do? He was getting so annoyed. I'm looking forward to the DM that he sends you being like, bro, what the hell?
We interviewed Shaq.
Why do we do such
That's the difference between me and you, Joel Pearl. I commit. You got to commit to these things. You, and which is why you're one of the reasons you're the host of the show, are professional.
Yep.
I am not. Not in this situation. I can be professional. This show with our friends and, depending on which wrestler we have, commitment, everybody.
I think I'm just going to retire after AEW.
Probably. I assume so. I mean, I don't know. We don't know how long the contract is for, right? He hasn't said that anywhere. He was saying, and look, maybe he was working people of like, I don't know if I got a year left in me type of thing. I think he's going to have a run with AEW. I think he might go back to WWE and do more one-off stuff and things like that. Cause I think he's always welcome there. But yeah, I think this is it full time for him. I do.
I think the year left in me comment was more specifically putting up with this shit. It's not a dig at WWE as much as it is just he said it himself. Creatively, he felt like he had accomplished everything he wanted to, and there wasn't much else for him in WWE that at least was being presented that made sense for him. So maybe that's what he was talking about when he said those words. Or maybe he was just trying to tell us, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go home and wait for my phone call.
I truly don't think he had anything left in WWE. Could they have done stuff? Yes. But what? He's done stuff with Roman. He wasn't going to win the title. He's done stuff with Seth. Maybe he could have won that title, but does anybody like really want to see that? What else? They tried to do the Judgment Day and it became a bigger deal without him. I don't know what else they were going to do with him. He could have worked with younger people. I think maybe a Cody program would have done something, but I don't know if he could have been heel. He would have been heel if he could have, because they tried to do heel with the Judgment Day and it never caught on. It never caught on. I think one of the reasons it never caught on is because people like him, especially the story coming back from the injury and everything. Like he's a tough guy to boo in that scenario. And I think that's why you're not going to be able to boo him to start with AEW. Maybe if he becomes a dick enough with Christian, they can start to turn it. But it's tough to boo him in that WWE environment like that. So yeah, I just don't think he could have done it. It's good for all parties. It's good for all parties that he gets to go be with his friend Christian, which he clearly, that's what he wanted, right? I think that was going to be the deciding factor regardless, is he wanted to go work with Christian.
Yeah.
He gets to go do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, he gets to go do that. And WWE doesn't have to worry about bringing him in for whatever one-off kind of matches. And they gave him a great send-off, by the way. Tony talked about the send-off they gave Jade and stuff. Like, and look, this is no knock on Tony. They did do very right by Jade. WWE did very right by Edge. 25 years, gave him a lot of moments, let him work with Waller, let him get the match against Sheamus that he wanted, victories on the way out as well. Maybe they thought he might stick around. So like, hey, let's treat him well so he sticks around. But I think they kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen either, but they didn't bury him on the way out or anything like that. They'd always put, and we didn't talk about this too much on Monday. We can get into it a little bit now. I know we're running low on time. But they'd always treated Edge as this huge deal. There are very few people over the last 25 years. And if you want to throw in like Attitude Era people, sure. Let's go with basically since he became rated R superstar. There are very few people they've put on this pedestal like Edge. There's Cena, there's Orton. Anyone else? Like Edge was always presented as like a face of the company. And I don't think that always translated when it came to like metrics and whatnot. I was never an Edge guy. So I know I'm personally like he's not for me, but I cannot deny it was clear on television of how big of a deal they always just presented Edge and made it out to be like, hey, this was an industry leader in the company.
Well, these are your ruthless aggression or post Attitude Era needle movers. These were your guys, right? Before that, it was Austin and The Rock. To a lesser extent, you can argue Undertaker, and then before that, you would have been looking at Hogan, and you would have been looking at Warrior and Savage again to a bit of a lesser extent. But again, that's how they did it. And so that was the last big three that they've set up. Now, arguably, it's Roman. And
not arguably, it is.
Oh, it's true, it is Roman, but it took some time to get there. They wanted to be, now it's believable that people are going to accept Roman as one of them, Seth as being another. If Moxley was still there, he would also be there, but instead, he's in AEW. But yeah, you're right. Edge, Orton, and Cena, those were the top three from their era.
Yeah, so him jumping over is like a pretty big deal on all of that, because he was not a guy that WWE treated as almost less than. We know all the company sells, the name sells, and it does. Let's be honest about things. It does. But Edge was always a guy that was positioned as like he's on brand with the brand. and he's gone. Most of these other guys haven't done that. Even Jericho. Jericho is the biggest get in AEW history. It's very tough for me to dispute that. Even bigger than Moxley and everything, because Jericho made it okay for everyone else. Jericho is never put on the pedestal that they by WWE, by their television program, by their online presence, all this stuff. He was never put on the pedestal that Edge was put on.
Yeah. I do not disagree with you at all. Jericho is this weird transient wrestler just because he was never the top guy anywhere he went, but he was always a factor, right? ECW, he was a factor in a to his scale. WCW, he built himself up into making a feud out of nothing with Goldberg, and then going to the WWF at the time. And of course, they did the Triple H match, the state what's the word? The State Farm, not State Farm. Penn State. They did the match against Triple H where they tried to switch. So they did the fake switch of the title, and then Hebner had to come back and switch. But that was in State College. That's where it was. Anyway, they did that one. That was a big deal. And then of course he wins the Undisputed Championship at Vengeance, and he never lives it down. He has to eat pizza off the floor at a hotel room or whatever the story was in his book. Jericho is that guy who's always been. You know what? Here's a good one. Like Moxley and Orange Cassidy to AEW, big stars who are consistent. Jericho was very much like that in the WWE. That was Jericho was always consistent. Even when he took time off, he would always come back and continue that consistent run of good content, good quality storytelling, whatever it would be. That's Jericho. So him moving to AEW was a big get for multiple reasons. One, he comes with cachet. He comes with a big history of being a big draw in companies. And also he came with this ability to hype and PR speak everything. His platform is more massive than I think a lot of people realize. And, love it or hate it, the guy knows how to talk his way around things and into things. So yeah, Jericho is undeniably the biggest get for AEW from the get-go, no less. So yeah.
And I think Edge, one thing with him is like he never left WWE. I think that's why they put him on the pedestal. Not only did he never leave, like Jericho didn't leave until he left, but Jericho came from ECW, came from WCW type of thing. Edge was from the start, like he had the independent stuff, but like he was a WWE guy. And so they just continued to put him on that pedestal. That's why he was there with Cena, because Cena was a WWE from the start guy. Randy Orton from the start, one of those guys. So Edge was on that pedestal, man. And like him going is a big deal. I have my own feelings about it. I'm excited for him in AEW. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for all the fans. Like I'm not going to downplay that this is a pretty big deal. And I'm looking forward to everything that he just kind of does in the company. Can't wait for him to win the title next week as they combat NXT in the ratings.
I thought it was going to be Tony Khan inviting Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to the show.
Boy, if he does that, they should just throw it out there. He should just throw it out there on Dynamite tonight. I'm going to be absurd with the articles. Absurd. I see Corey Graves and Wade Barrett taking these shots, by the way.
Of course.
I see them. They're trying to get the internet talking. I ain't falling for their bait, though. That is bait, everybody. Tony Khan actually like makes an announcement of like makes it a formal invitation. I'll take that.
And I'll take Redmond Survivor's comment here. I always look at it as Chris Jericho legitimized AEW and Jon Moxley cemented it. I think that's a pretty good way of looking at it because Jericho came in on that first big press conference and everyone was surprised to see him. And then Moxley showed up at Double or Nothing. And that was like, oh, we're off to the races. We're bringing some pretty big names right away. And then Jake Hager showed up and that really legitimized everything. Shout out to Jake Hager. The only man.
Anniversary. 4-year anniversary of Dynamite tonight.
Everyone's going to be there. All the stars will be there. Do you want to preview there hasn't been much announced yet for Dynamite. There's really just three things. You've got Adam Copeland's going to speak, so that'll probably lead to setting up the Luchasaurus match, or maybe they'll change. Do you think they'll change it ahead of next week?
No,
No. Okay.
no, I don't think they change it at all. No, I don't think they do. There's not a whole lot to preview. Do you want to briefly touch about Jonathan Gargano and his return?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So the injuries and other things kind of changed Raw, and as a result, the Intercontinental Championship became the through thread for the final couple hours of Raw. Tommaso Ciampa and Gunther had a really, really solid match, and it ends with Gunther turning a power bomb, or turning, what was it? What was he trying to do? Ciampa was trying to do a move, and then he turned it into the power bomb. Either way, I don't have my notes in front of me. Not Gargano. Ciampa loses the match. Imperium beats up Ciampa, and then Gargano shows up and he makes the save. Johnny Gargano's back. They do the DIY tag team move at the end of the show after all the lower thirds are gone, and DIY is back. And it looks like they're going to start off with a feud against Imperium. What do you think?
I'm happy to see Gargano back. Him and Ciampa against Imperium should be good stuff whenever we get the Gunther and Gargano singles match, because I assume that's coming. That'll be very good. It's weird. I was talking to the wife about this. Like, Gargano's been back in the company for over a year now. It's like, he ain't really done a whole lot over this last year. No offense to his return. The reaction was what it was for it. He got the big reaction last year in Toronto and everything. Last night, like, I blame the stupid music change. But like, crowd went mild for it. And it was unfortunate because I like Gargano, and he probably should have been positioned better over this past year, but it just hasn't been. I hope this is a start of something good for him and Ciampa DIY. Like, they got a lot of life. They got a lot of life as a tag team, but I don't know. We shall see. They got some work to do in rebuilding him, because the crowd did not care. Crowd did not care on Monday.
It feels like the story with Imperium is what they're going to use to build DIY. Do they build them to the tag titles? Maybe they could. For all we know, they're going to break up before then, and we're going to do Ciampa Gargano for whatever reason, part 2700. So no, I want to see DIY together teaming for at least the foreseeable future. But yeah, you got to get the fans invested, because I was there when Gargano made that return in Toronto, and it was a big, big moment. People were really excited, and they were legitimately surprised. From there, hasn't been much going on, and that's kind of frustrating. So the hope is Gargano and Ciampa have a strong showing. They get put over strong by Imperium and even by Gunther in some way, and they get to continue building whatever this is that they're working on. So it's nice to see Gargano back. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And I hope it leads to consistency now. That's all you can ask for, is he's back, he remains on television, and they do stuff. So yes.
By the way, I love that Gunther is just like this complete badass champion. I don't give a you know what. I will face you now. We don't have to wait until next week. We're gonna, like, he's a bad guy, but he's like, I'm a bad guy who can beat your ass anytime I want. I love this presentation for Gunther. He's never let me down when I've watched him perform. So I'm happy watching him as the Intercontinental Champion continuing forward. He's so good. And the match with Ciampa was good. You know, big guy, little guy. I still don't know who's going to step to him. Who's going to step to Gunther and take that title from him. It looked like they were going to tease that it was going to be another match against Chad Gable, but we're not there. So
yeah, I think Gable cools and then heats again. I think that's what you got to do with Gable.
The Bronson Reed match against Gunther, when that happens, though, that's going to be a fun match. I hope they get to it.
I think they will at some point. I don't know if they want to. They should 100% do it, but it'd probably just be like a one-off thing. I don't think they're going to do like an extended program for them. That would be very fun.
It feels like they get there by having Bronson Reed win like a battle royal, and then end of the night you get the match or whatever it is. It's just, while Bronson's been dominant, calling his shot against Gunther, I don't know, you can still do the call your shot thing with, because Bronson Reed is just that badass guy who can step to anyone too. So I want to see that. I don't want to see Gunther kick out of the tsunami. I don't want to see the tsunami hit if it's not going to finish the match, because they are protecting the hell out of that move. So
I'm with you.
Yeah, continue building that. He told me once at a press conference, at a press thing, he was like, I want to protect the tsunami to the best I can. No one's kicked out of it. I want to keep it that way. And I like that they're continuing with that. It's good stuff.
I'm with you. If he hits it, it should finish. He can go for it, miss it, or just don't go for it at all.
Yeah, missing it would work, or counter it into something. Because again, one thing that's really cool about Gunther is that he doesn't just have one. What's that?
I said knees up.
Yeah,
Still squash you though. That would still squash.
Yeah, that would break your legs.
Yeah.
No, the idea that he could roll out of the way and then turn it into whatever he does, because again, that's the thing about Gunther. He has different finishers for different days. He's got the splash, he's got the powerbomb, he's got the big clothesline. He's got a lot of stuff, in his arsenal that finishes matches.
He should move out of the way and then just pin him. The tsunami is so great that Bronson hurts himself when he misses it. That's how you also protect it.
What's your finish, kid? I'll move. Shout out to the late great Harley Race. Anyway, we got a couple minutes, and so let's just talk about Dynamite. Jericho and Omega versus Guevara and Takeshita. This is the win back for Jericho and Omega.
Well, folks, we have a tremendous lineup for AEW Dynamite tonight, live
you.
on TBS at 8 p.m. Eastern from the Stockton Arena in Stockton, California, home of the Diaz brothers. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega will team up to take on Sammy Guevara and Konosuke Takeshita, coming off a tremendous match at AEW Wrestle Dream, where Sammy Guevara actually pinned Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega proved they could coexist last week on AEW Collision, and now they look to get a little bit of revenge against the Don Callis family, Sammy Guevara and Konosuke Takeshita. Plus, the AEW International Championship will be on the line as Rey Fenix takes on Nick Jackson. We had a tremendous match last week with Nick Jackson winning a triple threat match to earn a shot against Rey Fenix and the International Championship. And these two men also competed in a four-way match at AEW Wrestle Dream with the Young Bucks, Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson, winning to earn a AEW tag team title shot against FTR at any time they would like. Can Nick Jackson, who is already 1/3 of the ROH six-man tag team champions with Matt Jackson and Hangman Page, can he add more gold against Rey Fenix in an international championship showdown? The leveled up AEW International Championship. Plus, everybody, we're going to hear for the first time ever in AEW, we're going to hear from the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland. It's a new era in AEW as the Rated R era kicks off. We saw Adam Copeland make his AEW debut at AEW Wrestle Dream. And now we're going to hear from the man himself live tonight on AEW Dynamite. We have a tremendous show for everybody, a tremendous lineup, heading into one of the best lineups we've ever had in AEW. Because get ready, everyone. Not only do we have a tremendous show tonight on AEW Dynamite, we have a huge monumental show next Tuesday. That's right, Tuesday, October 10th, AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday. We're going to give you big matches, quite possibly one of the best lineups we've ever done in AEW Dynamite history. Next Tuesday, AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday, October 10th. You won't want to miss it. Right now we have Saraya defending the AEW Women's Championship against former champion Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida defeated Ruby Soho of the Outcast to earn this title match against Saraya. Plus, it's going to be the AEW in-ring debut of Adam Copeland next Tuesday, October 10th, AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday against Luchasaurus. You won't want to miss Adam Copeland's AEW in-ring debut next Tuesday, Title Tuesday, AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday. October 10th, everybody. But before we get to Title Tuesday, don't forget AEW Dynamite tonight, live, 8 p.m. Eastern, TBS from the Stockton Arena, Stockton, California. It's going to be a great show as we kick off a new era in AEW. And not only that, we celebrate the 4-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. 4 years of AEW Dynamite. Thank you to all the great fans in AEW who have made this possible over the last 4 years. And we can't wait to start the new era coming off quite possibly our best show ever, AEW Wrestle Dream. AEW Wrestle Dream with big matches highlighted by the debut of Adam Copeland. And don't forget, folks, we're going to hear from Adam Copeland tonight on AEW Dynamite at 8 p.m. Eastern, TBS. It's a new era in AEW. Thank you to all the great AEW fans. 4 years of AEW Dynamite. Let's fucking go!
Justified, this is 4 years chant for our AEW fans. All right, Jeremy, do you have anything else to plug that doesn't include Excalibur and TK like talks?
No, we'll be back on Friday. I will not be on Spotlight tomorrow. The great SP3 will be in my place with Steven Jensen. That's at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Everyone check out that show. It's right here on this channel, Spotlight, with SP3 and Steven Jensen. I don't know what they're talking about. They pick the topics, not me. So that'll be tomorrow. I will be on the show on Friday, though, and I assume my mother will be on this show.
God, Friday. I'm so excited for that.
It's her birthday. It's her birthday on Friday.
Bring all your well wishes and money for Mummy Lambert. Okay. Yes. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Like Jeremy said, we're back on Friday. We'll talk about Dynamite and all whatever news comes out in the next 48 hours in wrestling. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we will see you in the next one. Leave your thumbs ups on the ways out and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you then.